Position. Yeah. All right. Actually, I guess I've gotten better at editing, so I don't really actually need to run and do that.
I mean, only if you want to.
Well, I was just
Is it the same as like the what is it they call it, the millennial pause?
Yeah, I guess I've never heard of that.
You've never heard of the millennial pause?
No, but it sounds like menopause.
It's the whenever we do TikToks or Instagrams or anything like that.
Yeah.
We always take a beat to make sure it's working.
Okay.
Whereas I guess Gen Z, they just get right into it because they trust the technology is going to work.
Oh.
Well, we've done this shit long enough that we know it's probably not going to work.
Technology is not going to work.
Yeah, I'm just amazed by their trust in it actually working.
Yeah, no, and it's funny too because it's like when we used to record, I don't think people know this, but like we would one take it. We would never stop, pause, edit. We literally would shoot the content, upload the audio, and just it is what it is. We did no like splitting or adding. I mean, we would edit the vocals if we needed to make them sound better, but we literally did zero cutting out, zero bleeping. Like there was no, it was unfiltered, 100% unfiltered.
Part of the reason we went by unfiltered is we decided we were going to do that from almost day one. That the most filtering that I did when I edited the podcast is would do 2 tracks, and if you weren't talking, I muted you. That was it. That was the extent of it. Even when y'all are teasing me about the fact that I pause, that I have to process before I speak sometimes, I always left those fuckers in. Like I know y'all may. Oh, we're not within. Are we within a minute?
Yeah.
We have to wait. We have to talk for a minute before we say fuck, or YouTube will demonetize us.
Oh, really?
We have to go 1 minute.
I'm pretty sure we went a minute.
Okay.
So I think we're good.
Okay. But
I didn't know those rules.
Yeah, that's a rule. Like you're learning all sorts of stuff, aren't you? The millennial pause.
Yeah, the millennial pause, the
YouTube 1 minute rule.
I also learned this week that based on our YouTube comments that I'm very bad at interrupting you. No, but that's been a thing. Let's not act like that's new. You take time to process. Meanwhile, my brain is going, it's ahead of my mouth. So like the processing already happened and I'm ready to get in there and say something. It's been fights with my wife for sure because it's not just a podcast thing. I mean,
you feel empty air. There can be no empty air with you.
No, yeah, 100%.
And if it does take me a minute to spit things out like that. That is like an actual thing. Like for me, that's I guess a part of neurodivergency, whatever they're calling ADHD for adults now.
Oh, is that what they're calling it now?
Yeah, like that's an actual thing. It's actually one of my symptoms that it always takes me a minute to kind of respond. Like I have to process. Like my brain is going a million miles per hour, which is funny. On the other end of the spectrum are the people that if there's anything blank, they just start vomiting every word that they know to fill that space. And I just always think it's funny that we are exact opposites on that spectrum.
So for me, it's not about that. It's about if I don't say it, I'll forget. And my wife has probably wanted to divorce me multiple times because of this. Like, luckily, I'm going on 19 years of marriage, so I think we kind of got it now. But she's like you; she'll take a second to process things, and meanwhile, I'm like, I gotta say it because if I forget it, like I'm gonna be disappointed and pissed at myself. Like, and then I also won't get it back likely. So it's I have to get it out, especially when it comes to the pod. It's like if I don't get it out, then the content is going to be gone too.
Yeah, and that's part of the reason why we had to go unfiltered, because if we say it once, that's it. Like we'll never get it back again.
No,
there's no cleaner version. We'll forget what point we were trying to make, and both of us have this issue. So it's kind of like I know we got a little bit of shit saying that y'all were a little bit more discombobulated than normal, which fair. I mean probably fair. But I think our first run was actually really good, and then we fell into the trap that we're like. Yeah. We did a really good job our first time back, so let's try and copy it. We're at our best, or we're just whatever. We're just talking about whatever we want.
Yeah, and I would say also, I think the fact that I think we talked more about ourselves a little bit at the beginning, which I think for new listeners may have thrown them off a little bit. Typically, we go straight into Texans football. This time, we spent like, where were we? What happened? We recapped like the Texans' last 3 years. And I think for them, they were like, hey, we know all of that already. Like, we're not tuning in to hear that. We're tuning in to hear what is going to happen between the Colts and the Texans.
If you're on the subreddit, you're a diehard. We should have one of y'all on here to actually recap it for us. Because just by nature of being on the subreddit, you know every detail. Like, you know every story, every in joke. that a lot of people that, I mean, honestly, like our amount of listeners versus people on the subreddit, we have more listeners than people that interact with us on the subreddit. So for a lot of people, they may have been in similar situations as us that are kind of out of the loop on the drama. We used to be the place where you got all the tea.
Yeah.
For the Texans. I don't know if we still are because we don't know
No.
people like we used to, but we're still going to talk about it like we are.
Well, it's funny. I got a DM last night at like 12:45 from like a old listener, and he was like, "Dude, at one point, you were the voice of like the Texans fan base for a minute there," and I was like, "Dude, that's." I responded with like, "Nah, there's no way. I appreciate it." Like I was real modest, and then honestly, I was like, "No, actually, you know what? Like." After thinking about it and reflecting, no, 100%. Like,
yeah, we had our voice, we had our fingers of the pulse of the fandom.
We did.
We really knew what was kind of going through people's heads. We knew a little bit of the drama. So we could also kind of feed into it. I hate to say it.
Yeah.
Unintentionally or unintentionally.
I think too much at the time.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what our role was, and that's kind of what we're gonna get kind of back to. Like we're gonna be more worried about representing the fandom and like how we're feeling than trying to be a news breaker.
Yeah, I don't care about that anymore.
Yeah,
I'm too busy for all that. You know how many calls with Aaron Wilson at like 12:30 at night I would be on? Like I hated those calls. Looking back at it at the time, I still viewed it as a fan when that was happening, to where it was like, dude, this is so cool to know the insides of this stuff.
No, I mean,
and it blew me away.
It was cool to get a tweet, like a random DM. Hey, did you hear about this? It's like, oh, really? And then what sucked about it though was like you had to follow it up because you couldn't just run with every random like DM that you'd get. You'd have to reach out to other people. Hey, do you know anything about this? Do you know anything about this? Yeah. Can we talk about it? Is that okay? And like that was a headache.
Yeah, no.
But the excitement behind it when you first did it, not trying to do it right. That was fun.
No, it was fun. It was fun. Okay, so before we get into like a recap, I had this idea. And you just tell me if I didn't talk to John about this prior to. So usually this doesn't go in John's favor. Typically goes in mine. But I had this idea. So I had a tweet, obviously, that I think a lot of Texans fans related to over the last 4 days regarding the former Texans quarterback and his ability to
that guy up in Cleveland.
Yeah. And so I started to think, I was like, man, like, okay, that's over. Like that we have to find a way to kind of let that go. But there is trauma for a lot of people still associated with that guy.
We used to have an annual Watson cast.
No, a Watson cast.
Like that was legitimately an annual thing. We did it every year.
Yeah.
And you know what? Fuck that guy.
No, yeah. So that's what I was going to say. So
if we want to vent about him for about 10, 15 minutes towards some point of the episode, we probably will.
Well, so I was actually going the other way.
No.
I was going to say, should we like say anytime we bring up Deshaun or even the past that we have to donate, I don't know, whatever number we want to decide to like a local Houston.
No. There was a point where I was going to agree with you until I saw that picture of the like happy endings are free from the Browns fan base.
What is it?
Happy endings are free.
That's the fan base.
No. Part of me was like, you know what? That horse is dead and buried for us. Like let the Browns like literally factory of sadness. Let's just leave them alone.
Yeah.
Then I saw that picture and I'm like, tap dance on that motherfucking grave.
No,
we are gonna beat that horse until it is so fucking dead. But we should have every right to.
We should, but at the same time, if you do that, you take away from what we have. And I think for me, that's the issue. It's like if we are going to revisit consistently the past, we're not in the moment of what we have, and this is the moment we've all been waiting for. This is the season we've all been waiting for.
I disagree with this on one point. It is currently happening.
I'm trying to be mature here, John.
I'm not.
I do not appreciate you taking the other side. I'm typically not that guy. So if you could.
No, I get to be the guy on this one. I get to be the immature one on this one.
Okay.
This is currently happening to the Browns. If he's not playing, we won't talk about it. But when he plays like that and CJ plays like that, we get to own it.
So then, okay. So, I mean, my whole point was like, every time we say it, talk about it, whatever, it's like a $5 donation. And at the end of the season, we'll go back, we'll count it, and we'll donate, $1 or $5, whatever it may be, to a foundation. in Houston, whether it's like abuse women, domestic abuse, whatever it may be, if you're going to embrace it, I still say we do something like that.
Yeah, we should still do something.
And then
I like that's a good thing to do. Like, I have no
100%.
problem with that.
Anytime we talk about it,
no, we get to enjoy this.
So let's go. We get
to enjoy this. I am not going to be mature. I want to enjoy what's the German word? The Schadenfreude, whatever it is.
I have no idea. I don't know why you came here to educate me on things I didn't know, but I don't appreciate it.
There is an added level of enjoyment when we have a quarterback like CJ playing like he did.
No, for sure.
And even in a very tough environment in Indianapolis with like the ice skating rink surface.
Yeah.
And then you turn around and you look at Deshaun and he has just completely lost it. There is an added level of enjoyment there that I am going to fully embrace because I have suffered for too long as a football fan.
That's fair. I think in the totality of the Deshaun Watson experience, I think we have come to the understanding and the conclusion and the agreement as a city that it is absolutely fuck that guy.
Yes.
And at first, there were people who would defend Deshaun, and they were very obvious and evident on the timeline or wherever. Now that we continue to watch this fucking asshole / like demonic sinister of a dude continue to fucking fall and fail and not be successful at the game. You know, Barstool had, and I'm not a big Barstool guy, but Big Cat had a little clip. I'm sure everybody saw it, where it was like, Deshaun Watson might be a better human being than he is a football player.
Oh, wow.
Because he is that fucking bad at football. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I hate that. One, that's not something I think we would ever probably touch in the sense of saying something like that. But now it is becoming a joke, and I am so glad I get to witness this dude completely fail at everything. Mm-hmm. The fact that he's still getting paid is like, wow, how does that happen? But then this news story comes out, mm-hmm. and it's like, you read that and you're like, yo, dude, like, you are truly a sick fuck.
You know, I mean, I was going to say I had like 3 points left, but I'll just make it 2 because you just nailed one of them. First off, our franchise has not a lot of history.
No.
If we were one of those teams like the Chiefs or something like that, where we have Super Bowls and things like that, we could take the high road.
Yeah.
We haven't earned the high road yet.
History.
This is it.
And it's a recent history.
And second was, we were some of those original defenders of Deshaun.
Yeah.
Before everything came out. And yeah, like it is. We are jilted exes.
There's trauma.
There's absolute trauma. Like this was a very bad breakup where we were mad at the wrong people. And once we realized we were mad at the wrong people, we got mad at the right person. But it's something that I honestly feel like we should be able to enjoy watching him fail.
I'm all for it. The demise of Deshaun Watson will be televised, and it is being televised, and it will not stop. I tried to be mature. I thought I was in my 40s, so it was but obviously, it's just.
Hey, I've got to let a little immaturity out every now and then.
I appreciate
mature one.
No, you are.
I'm always the one that's like, hey, let's calm down on this, but not this guy.
But with that being said, it's literally the perfect transition to having gone from the piece of shit dude who sold the entire city on this good boy persona that, you know, has always stood by, gave his check to the lunch ladies, you know, all of the things that we believed Deshaun to be. Fast forward 3.5, 4 years, and now we see what a real quarterback, what a real human being looks like with number 7 and CJ Stroud. We now see a guy who walks the walk, talks the talk, talks the talk. He talks the talk. He is a big shit talker. All for it. All for it.
I'm here for it.
I am here for all of that. And then also doubles down. We don't have to worry about, it's a 12 o'clock game.
Well,
remember those days?
Oh, God.
Remember the days where Deshaun would play at 12 o'clock and we said, we don't know how this game is going to go because at 12 o'clock, he does not show up.
Right.
3:45, 7 o'clock, Monday night, Thursday night, Deshaun shows up. Early morning get up routine. Now we know why. because he was out doing what he was doing, late night creep. But now we have CJ Stroud.
I mean, yeah, that even adds to it because I remember us defending the rumors of him being hungover at those games.
Right.
Like,
and we were wrong.
We were wrong, and we were blinded. Like, and I think it's almost a perfect segue into this game. Take away the character issues because I don't wish those character issues on anything. But being a Colts fan is a little bit like being a Texans fan back in those days because now you have a quarterback that'll make you go, whoa.
Man, did he make me go? Whoa.
And he made you go, whoa.
Wow.
But the little things he could not do.
Yeah.
Whereas the Texans, now we have a quarterback
that can do it all.
That not only does the little things, like every time he threw the ball, you're like, okay, we're going to get 4 yards. Yeah. Like it was almost an extension of the running game. He's going to get 4 yards. We get the ball back. It's going to be methodical. We're going to take forever to go down the field. It doesn't have to rely on a big play. And then when we needed an absolute nails throw,
he gave it to us.
He gave us the perfect throw. Him and Nico combined. Yeah. Like Nico making that catch.
Yeah.
That ball being only
perfectly placed
where Nico can get it.
Absolutely.
Like, dude, how awesome is that? And in comparison to the Colts, where their quarterback is quite capable of just blowing your fucking socks off. And you just sit there like, how did he make that throw? How did he make that play? Dude. To a couple minutes later, like,
how did he miss that
play? How did he miss that play? Like,
yeah, though I'm not going to bury Anthony Richardson the way that I think everybody else is, and I get it.
This
like,
isn't burying him.
No. I'm not saying you are, but the fan base definitely is, and then obviously the lazy writers who like the hot takes, they'll say whatever it is for engagement, whether it be on Twitter or YouTube or sports radio, whatever it may be. They'll say, like, I don't know. I think Cody Stutes quote tweeted a Pat McAfee tweet where it was like Anthony Richardson looked great in his first start or something like that, and Cody was like, looked great, like that's an overstatement or something like that, like basically demeaning what he was.
Right.
I think what people have to realize is this is basically his rookie season again. So he's not going to. First, he was never a polished product coming out of college, right? Yeah. So we knew that already. It was going to take some time. Then you add that he was injured last year, so he missed reps and all the other stuff that come from being a rookie. He's in his second year. I don't think it's fair for us to expect this guy to have it all figured out week 1, week 2, week 4, whatever it may be. I do think that the guy will figure it out. I truly do. But I don't think we should be, oh my God, look at that miss and overthrow. No, like Lance Zierlein got one where it was when the wide receiver tripped on the interception, if he did not trip, that would not have been a pick. It's very clear. But Lance was like, accuracy can't be fixed. Like, I just think that, and this is going to sound terrible, but it's the truth. Anytime a black quarterback comes into the league and is playing the game the way Anthony Richardson is playing the game, there's always a label of like, needs to be fixed. And, he's not a polished product. Like, they use all the buzzwords when it comes to those type of quarterbacks. And to me, it's just like, man, let's give the kids some damn time and let's see. Well, there are moments in that game where you're like, holy shit.
Real quick, because I was going to make a comparison, but now I almost feel bad making that comparison. He doesn't need to figure it out.
No.
Him and his coach,
they'll figure it out.
Like, we don't even need to go to they need to figure it out. This is a dangerous combo.
100%.
This is a reflection, first of all, on how good the Texans are and how complete of a team the Texans are. If we don't have Mixon and we're not able to control the clock, we had the clock. I think we had the largest time of possession differential in the entire.
I agree.
All of them. And if we don't do that, Richardson is going to beat us. Like, if you give him enough chances, this is like Cam Newton redo.
Yeah.
How long is he going to be able to do it? We'll see. How long is he going to be able to be healthy? We'll see.
Yeah.
These are all things that Cam never got over, but he did get to the Super Bowl.
He did.
He did play MVP level. This is Richardson. And I hate to say it because I can't remember which recap show said it, but the guy hadn't watched the game, and the other two guys on the recap show were just going bananas over Richardson. And the host is like, wait, he only completed 9 passes, and they're like, you have to go watch this game to fully understand it.
Yeah.
Anything less than that is a disservice. You have to watch the game. You have to watch how Richardson plays, and as Texans fans, we should be a little nervous about that combo because he has the perfect coach for him.
100%.
They have a solid defense.
Yep.
And thank God we got the quarterback we did. Thank God we have the receivers we do.
Yeah.
Because
we're built to beat them.
we are a very good team that is built to beat that Colts team.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, they would be a pain in our ass for the next 10 years.
Yeah, I would say the one thing that I want to say about this game is thank God we played the Colts in week 1.
Yes.
Because give them some more time to gel, and that team's going to look different. So I think we play them later in October. We're still catching them early in the season, luckily. That team come December might be a completely different team. On top of that, when you look at the way that the defense was built out for the Texans last year, run defense was atrocious. We could not do it. This game we could.
Yeah.
And that was the difference maker. Because of the pairing of Anthony Richardson and Jonathan Taylor, if you're able to take away Jonathan Taylor, now you're asking AR to pick up the slack in the run game, which is what we saw, which is fine. If your quarterback is constantly running, there's a good chance that the other team is ahead.
Yeah, I mean,
and that's what we saw.
Jonathan Taylor's
going to go off.
He took the clown mask from T.Y. Hilton.
Yeah.
Like, he was the one that I had nightmares about.
Yeah.
And we were able to shut him down.
Yep.
Which makes me feel...
He had 200 yards, right? Like the last game of the season last year.
Yeah,
right?
he was averaging
crazy.
His average against the Texans was like 130 out. Like, on average, he would run for 130 yards against us. And for us to hold him to what we did, that big sigh of relief, because him and Richardson, again, terrifying together.
It's the perfect duo for what they are. Now, let's talk about the Texans.
And they have a coach that can take advantage of that.
And they do. And that's like, so I guess what we'll end this Richardson aspect of the pod. I guess what I'm saying is it's cool to shit on the Colts and do that, right? That's our rival. But do it from an actual factual perspective instead of just seeing highlights and you didn't really watch the game, whatever it may be. Maybe this is more national media, but I'm also seeing it very local too. Don't shit on a young guy that you just saw from his back foot throw it 68 yards on the dot to a wide receiver after, you know what I mean, slipping. Give the guy some time. Shit on the Colts. But look, it's not a competition between him and CJ right now. CJ is 100% above Anthony Richardson. So bask in that glory and know that you have the right quarterback.
Yeah.
We are set for the next 10 to 15 years with CJ at quarterback. And then let's just continue down the path. Now the Texans. Look, that offense, holy shit.
The reason I wanted to start was saying how good the Indianapolis Colts are.
Yep.
Was to just kind of put it in perspective of how good we are.
No, 100%.
This isn't one of those where we want to bash the other team so we feel better.
We just aren't bashers either when it comes to the other team. We never really have been that way.
The Jags for some reason.
The Glitter Kitties are different because they have a glitter, their name. First of all, they shout Duval, which is just, that's I don't even feel good. I can't believe I said that. I now feel like I'm and then the Glitter Kitties, come on, man. They do it to themselves. And then the Titans are going to get it. How did that happen?
We'll talk about the Titans later.
Yeah.
I mean, but the Colts are a very good team.
They are.
And we need to keep that in mind when we kind of think about the Texans not having this overly dominating win that a lot of, I think, our fandom was expecting. The national media definitely wasn't. There was people that actually said that they wouldn't be surprised if we lost to the Colts nationally. But the Texans are a really good team. And I think that this is one of those games that shows character. The Texans are not going to win 17 games this year.
No.
Well, maybe if you include playoffs, maybe. But for the regular season, they're not going to go undefeated.
Sure.
But there's going to be those weeks where you're like, this is just not our week.
100%.
This game, we dominated. And had we lost it, that would have been terrifying.
And there was a chance that happened.
And they started to come back. But the Texans being able to hold on just shows great character, because this is a game that they dominated. Yep. They should have won, and they were able to finish it out.
I agree with you. And I think the other aspect of that is, at least for me, coming into the season, I bet in Vegas that the Colts would win the division. And a lot of it had to do with the fact that I thought all of the expectations, all of the news, second-year head coach, second-year quarterback, I felt like they they overexceeded last year. I was like, there's going to be some moments this year where they come back down to earth a little bit. And I think the Colts, so they switch roles. Colts and Texans switch roles from last year. I could easily see it. I felt like it was the writing on the wall. And also, I'll be honest, I'm very hard for me to believe the Texans are going to be great yet, because we went through so much where every time we've thought they were going to be great, they never were great. So history showed me that there was a good opportunity or idea or chance that they were not going to be what we thought they were going to be. Yeah. They came in this week, though, and they did exactly what they were supposed to do and won in a way that they were supposed to win. And to me, that was the part where I can say, like, D'Amico as a coach, it's really working, right? Yeah. The players are really bought in. His demeanor and the way that he's approaching this, his strategy, all of that. He's exactly what we needed. And then you have CJ, who at the end of a game, this guy is, we used to talk about the previous quarterback being ready to go and tough as nails when it came crunch time. That guy has nothing on what CJ Stroud can do when it's time to step up to the plate. And we saw that.
Yeah. I mean, I live in nightmares that I'm going to wake up from this CJ Stroud dream.
Yeah.
Why? Because I mean, a Texans fan.
Yeah.
Like, that's just what you expect. I mean, we had the best player in all of football, even though you hate to say it or admit it, with JJ Watt because he was too corny. But JJ Watt was the best player in all of football for a stretch.
Yeah.
He really was.
2 years. Yeah, I can't argue that.
And we have nothing to show for it.
Yeah.
Now we have a quarterback that,
I mean,
he really is.
He really is.
Where it really clicked for me with this game, even though his stats weren't just overwhelming, was just how consistently he would make the easy plays.
Yeah.
How much of a different feeling that is as a Texans fan to sit there and watch your team make the easy plays.
100%, which was an issue for us.
Yeah, it always
things that we never did. Bill O'Brien, he was never able to do the easy things. He always made it so much harder for everybody.
We used to fuss all the time. Why can't we watch a game where our team just went down the field and made the easy play after easy play after easy play and just took the yards?
Yeah.
And we have that.
No, we do. And
that is such a weird feeling.
It is a weird feeling. I will say, like, so I guess let's start with the offense. I mean, the wide receiving trio was as advertised. Mm-hmm. Stephon Diggs showed up. Look, I said it last week. I'll say it again. And I'm going to say it every week. Nico Collins is wide receiver 1. It is not debatable. It is not a conversation to be had. Nico Collins is wide receiver 1. Agreed?
Agreed.
There's no doubt in my mind that guy will be 1. Stephon is going to probably break out a couple games. Last year of his contract, he has an opportunity to cash in on one last contract before it's time to probably hang him up. He's going to have moments where he outperforms Nico from a stat perspective. Tank might even have a game or two like that too. But at the end of the day, Nico Collins showed that he is wide receiver 1. He is the guy that I expected him to be. And he is more and more every week reminding me of why I always thought that he would play the game like Andre Johnson. And that catch in the first quarter literally showed me exactly that again. Nico is a monster, and the chemistry between him and CJ is next level.
Yeah. I mean, if you were a homer like me and took way too many Texans in your fantasy football drafts, I feel for you because it's going to kind of suck. Every game, we're going to watch them and go, oh, these players played great. But there's not going to be one guy that stands out that's going to get a bunch of fantasy points every week. I hate to say it. Like, that's just the nature. I know there was at one point where we're like, oh, we could have 3 1,000-yard receivers. Yeah, no.
That's
probably not going to happen.
It probably won't. But if it did, it wouldn't surprise me.
It wouldn't surprise me. Like, it would not surprise me. It could. It's still in the realm of possibility, but I doubt it. Just the way things kind of go. And that's okay because they're going to be balanced and they're going to play well and they're going to do their role. And it's great. I mean, and then on top of that, somebody posted it on Reddit. And it just pointed out all these top tier Ohio State receivers, how they did week 1. And it wasn't to trash them. It was just to take a quote that I believe that Nico Collins said, that CJ Stroud makes it easy to play receiver. So you have a guy like Stephon Diggs, who is one of the most elite route runners in the entire league.
Agreed.
Even if he's a little bit slower than he was 2 years ago.
Great. It doesn't matter when you're a good route
runner. You have Nico Collins, who has the highest percentage rate when targeted.
Yeah.
And then you have Tank Dell.
Yeah. Which
like this it's absolutely amazing because this time last year the argument was like, well, Nico might be a good 2 for a team.
that's literally what people are saying.
Now you look at it and we just have like an abundance of riches at that position.
Yeah. It's awesome.
That almost I feel like I need to knock on wood or something. Like there's no way that's going to continue.
Shelf threats, so
I don't want to break any of your stuff, but like I just can't get over it.
Yeah, I would say, and to move off from Nico, obviously Stephon had a great first game, 2 touchdowns, a couple catches, outside of the red zone. But I would say the most interesting aspect of the offense for me was the way they used Tank Dell.
Yep.
Which I think we all probably thought we would see, but I didn't expect to see it so quickly, whether it be the end arounds or the reverses, whatever it may be. But I thought like that element of technically the run game is another interesting aspect and another like intricate piece that I don't think was talked about enough in the offseason. And it's funny because last year when we drafted Tank Dell, there was a lot of talk about how he was going to be used in the run game. And excuse John, he's sick. He's powering through for you guys. So just know that you can see it in his eyes, literally, that he is sick. So this is his flu game. So good job to John for being here. But yeah, no, I mean, Tank is just another. Like we saw nothing from Dalton Schultz, really. That's another like weapon that will likely, and it's going to be week to week. So to your point about fantasy, to pick a consistent performer is going to be very tough. Outside of CJ Stroud,
good luck.
Maybe Joe Mixon. I would say Joe Mixon's based on what we saw, 33 carries. That's a lot of carries for a running back. But outside of that, I think those are probably the 2 safest. I think Nico probably will always be, if we had to pick a wide receiver that's going to get targets, it's probably going to be Nico.
Oh, yeah. Like if the safest bet out of the 3 is probably going to be Nico. But Diggs just being there where he was the guy when they needed a play that was there.
Yeah.
Like to score the touchdowns, to get the first downs. That was Diggs. Whereas Nico's just going to be the reliable one. Whereas, and this could all switch.
It could easily next week.
The crazy part is, like, I mean, you could not make a better definition of a X receiver than Nico Collins currently.
I would agree.
But all 3 players have shown that they could play that position.
Yeah, 100%.
So if they switched up the routes, they could. Like we'll see. We'll see what PFF Bobby has up his sleeves. But we have to talk about Mixon.
Well, that's where I was going to go next. So
we
obviously
absolutely have to talk about Mixon.
So we, especially based on the 2 episodes we recorded last week, even though we only got one of them out, a lot of the questions were around the run game, and them being able to perform. I tweeted out my thoughts on the run game after this element of Joe Mixon being added to the offense. Come January is going to be a must-have because that is how you win games in the playoffs. Being able to control the time of possession and be able to get those yards when needed on the ground, that's how you win a Super Bowl. If you just watch the Chiefs, even with their air raid offense and how much they throw it around, Pacheco or whoever else, McKinnon, they always have a guy when they need it, they can go get the yards. We not only have a guy that can go get the yards, we have a guy who can be the bell cow based on that. Now, I'm not going to say what Clint Sterner said. I thought this was maybe the stupidest take I've ever seen. He said that Joe Mixon is the best running back in Texans history off of week 1. We'll let that go. We don't get paid for hot takes, so it's all good. But
how dare
Mixon,
you?
how dare you? How dare you?
Arian Foster will be forever my favorite player.
I mean, look, Arian glided. He didn't run. Okay?
I mean,
be honest.
Maybe we don't want to consider Arian a running back if that's the take we're going to take.
He was a goddess. He was just the
elevated football player.
Yeah, nah, he was
just the football player. And
even the human being. The human being is amazing, dude.
He really is.
He's such a good dude.
He is one of my all-time. He is one of my all-time favorite.
I would agree. I would agree.
And you don't disrespect the man like that.
Yeah, I don't know why you did that.
But I do. But this is not to take anything away from Mixon because that was awesome.
It was a great game.
That was absolutely awesome. He showed exactly how you run in that offense.
And we didn't think that they would.
Exactly.
We had questions about the running game.
I mean, we thought that usually when a team like the Bengals, they still have aspirations. Like they still have a good quarterback. They still have a top receiver.
2.
Yeah, like they still have Super Bowl aspirations. Like they haven't given up on anything. To trade away somebody like Mixon for what they did,
Yeah,
that's always concerning. That's usually a red flag.
yeah,
But no, he came in there and he looked great.
he did look great. I love the way he runs the ball.
He
Very
looked
aggressive,
absolutely
lowered his
great.
shoulder, like type of running back that we honestly he was who we thought Dameon Pierce would be.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like based on what we saw Damien's rookie season, Mixon had he had great vision, had no problem following the block, and always was looking for contact. He was not he always wanted to get that extra yardage, and that to me that was Arian's. Like Arian was always so good at being able to get those extra yards without being touched, which was totally different. But Mixon stepped up,
and then Mixon would initiate the contact.
100%.
When running backs are able to do that and they're not taken by surprise, that's usually how they stay healthy throughout this whole year. And so he did an absolute phenomenal job. And I don't even want to say anything about Pierce was only in for one drive. And I thought,
how many carries did he have? 2?
2 or 3.
Yeah.
I don't know his average. I don't know his total,
sure.
But he looked a lot more confident in the one drive that he was in that I was sure that they were going to bring him out again
100%.
Because it's like, where's this Pierce been?
Right.
He wasn't here all last year.
Yeah.
But hopefully he'll get a couple more carries throughout the year because I do think they do need to be balanced.
I agree.
I mean, Akers did great during the preseason, but if Pierce can be a quarter of the guy that he was, like, watch out.
If we're going to talk about the run game, we also need to talk about 2 years ago, first round guard Kenyon Green coming in and just mauling people in the run game. I mean,
he looked a lot better.
His best game as a pro was last Sunday.
I mean, granted, that bar was like on the ground.
It was, but on a team where the questions really on offense were the interior of the offensive line in the run game, and can the run game get going? Kenyon plays such an intricate role in that, and he did what he needed to do. His second level stuff. I mean, he was doing everything you wanted and expected him to do. And when he was coming out of A&M, right? A&M?
Yeah.
You
got it right.
When he was coming out of A&M, that was what he, like, we all thought that would be what he was. We were worried about pass pro. We were not worried about the run game. And he exhibited that on Sunday. So it's a good confidence booster and a builder for him as he continues to go through the season. He's only going to get better, hopefully. It's the one blemish on Nick's draft resume right now is Kenyon Green.
Because he took Kenyon instead of, why am I blanking on his name? The safety in...
Yeah, what was it, Kyle Hamilton?
Kyle Hamilton.
Yeah, Kyle
That
Hamilton.
was when I thought...
Everybody was
we were
like,
there.
we
And
read
I thought, yeah. And I thought that Jordan, Texan Thoughts, that's when I thought he was going to... I thought he was going to start crying.
Yeah.
He was like...
Shout out to Jordan, by the way.
Yeah.
At the athletic and stuff, growth management. Like, dude, I talked to him the other day because of the emails, and it's awesome to see Jordan like just killing it. Like, we knew he would not be here long, and we knew he was going to be something. But cool to see him. So shout out to Texans Thoughts.
Absolute star.
But yeah, so Kenyon Green, awesome. Offensive line, let's get to that. Pass pro, little shaky in the first quarter.
Since we're going to talk about the offensive line, who would you say of all the Texans disappointed you the most on Sunday?
Tytus Howard.
Tytus Howard. I was going to go on the other end with Laramie Tunsil.
Well, that's interesting because I rewatched the game, and I actually, what shook me about Laramie was his willingness to get to the next level in the run game, which was something that we've never really seen Laramie do. Laramie was very much his weakness has always been the run game. I saw him do things that I'm not used to seeing him do, which to me was, I was kind of like, Tytus coming off of the contract, always, having his injury history, and then seeing him get blown up a couple times. It was kind of like, he's the last of the Bill O'Brien picks. He's, and it's like, I don't know. I would like to see more from Tytus, but again, like Kenyon, he's been hurt. He's always battling an injury. This is kind of his, like, let's see if he can continue to get better. But Tytus was probably my disappointment.
Fair enough. And I think maybe it's because my expectations for Tunsil are high.
Always high.
I don't expect him to ever make mistakes in pass protection other than, the guaranteed 2 offsides per game.
Yeah, false starts are happening. False starts are going to happen.
With him, you're getting 2 a game.
I wonder if there's an over-under on that. There has to be. And if there's not, I know you can do it on like Play Propeller. You can pick your own bets.
And I mean, somebody once told me that the reason like really good left tackles have so many false starts is because they're doing it on timing to catch the defender. So I mean, you're gonna get that.
Yeah.
Like it is what it is. But he just looked average. There was a couple of really great plays. There was a couple of really good things with communication, like handing off a twist with Mixon that they did an absolute phenomenal job. But just overall, what you normally expect from Tunsil in pass protection, it was just average instead of where he usually just stones people.
Yeah, no, I agree. I do think that the Colts present a unique challenge on the defensive line. They have skilled players. That's what they're good at. They're good at getting after the quarterback. So, I think week one, like I said, I'm glad we caught him week one.
Yeah.
I think that they have a good opportunity to put things together. I think for us, it was a great confidence boost to go into Indy and beat them the way that we did. We'll see what happens in October, but I would agree with you. I think, look, the offensive line as a whole from a pass protection standpoint in that first half really got CJ riddled in a way that we haven't really seen. There weren't too many games last year where we saw CJ in the pocket and the pocket collapsing quick. So it's I'm not going to say it's concerning yet because it's week one. I want to see what continues to happen. Last year, Bobby was good at being able to manufacture pass protection. I think this year he's probably giving a little bit more rope to the offensive line and saying, now you guys need to hold it on your own. We're not going to scheme it up. I need you guys to go out and protect. And so week one's showing a little scary, a little shaky. We'll see how this continues to go.
Yeah, I mean, first off, bear with me if you're watching us on YouTube and you see me doing all these weird twists and things like that. It's because we don't have cough buttons on these mics. We're getting new mics.
Mute button,
cough button. It's the same.
But new mics will be here tomorrow.
Yeah.
Wireless
so I'm trying not to cough in the mic or drink into the mic because I know y'all podcast listeners throw a fit when that happens.
Maybe.
So if you want to get a good laugh, go watch YouTube and just watch me twist and turn to try and avoid the mic when that happens.
I'm gonna use the restroom.
So with Tytus Howard, one of the things that they've always done with him is pretty much always had a tight end kind of stay in for a half second, kind of help him out.
Yeah.
And this game, I didn't notice that as often.
Okay. Yeah.
Was I wrong there?
I mean, there was moments where he was getting blown by. I didn't watch all 22, so I'm not going to sit here and be like, hey, Tytus Howard was atrocious in his game. It did just look like Kwity Paye was giving him some issues. So yeah, there were a couple plays where I saw that,
Yeah, I mean,
it's going to happen, by the way.
Yeah.
I mean, no tackle is going to be perfect.
No, definitely not. But in the past with Howard, they'd have the tight end kind of like bump whomever he was guarding. This way, Howard could kind of take care of the edge and also help out the guard because our guard play was so bad.
Yep.
And this game, it seemed like, like you were saying, like we're just going to do it more traditionally, a little less help. Y'all have to take care of your own assignments.
Yeah, and that's okay because like if you want to evolve into that elite contender, you can't always scheme your protection. You have to be able to trust your guys to do their job. And I think last year is a little different too with CJ being a rookie. You don't want him taking the amount of hits that he could have taken. We've obviously seen what that looks like in Houston. So, but yeah, I mean, week one, there's going to be questions. The questions that we had were answered in the run game. Maybe that was the Colts defense. I think it might be a week-to-week thing with the run game. Let's see how it looks. Defensive side of the ball. Look, when you have a quarterback, when you're facing a quarterback like Anthony Richardson, who excels in extending plays and also being able to execute when the play is broken while extending it, you're going to have moments where a guy breaks open, like Alex Pierce or whoever it may be. I'm not going to probably question the secondary yet on the defensive side of the ball. I think it's a tough matchup to be able to say like, oh yeah, this secondary is going to need some help. They're looking a little rusty. I don't think that's the matchup that you want to judge what the secondary is or can be.
Well, and no, I mean, if you look at what our corners actually did, they played great.
Yeah.
If you look at the actual breakdown, they played great. And the plays that got busted were just great plays.
Well, and also perfect, like the ball placement on that long touchdown. Like, what are you going to do?
I mean, I'm sure even in the secondary, they're like, oh, he stumbled. There's no way like he's gonna throw a jump ball.
Yeah, and there might have been a hesitation that led to Pierce being able to break away. Like, who knows?
And Pierce didn't hesitate, complete trust in his quarterback. I mean, It's just one of those things that's the reason why it was so spectacular. You can't defend that.
You can't.
It's just going to happen. And
just like you can't
well,
defend that throw that CJ made.
I'm not even sure you can say it's just going to happen because I think if he doesn't stumble, like our secondary stays back.
Right.
And I think that the hesitation was from the stumble because there's no way this is going to happen.
Right.
And his receiver trusted him that, yeah, it's going to happen. And he made the throw.
There's just things that are going to happen on Sunday that you can't always be prepared for. That's one of them. Just like the Colts would probably say that elite throw from CJ to Nico to seal the game on the outside. There's just nothing you can do. It was a perfectly placed ball, perfect catch. That happens. So I like I said, I'm not gonna judge the secondary too much this week. I want to see how they continue to progress. I will say that the big shocker was the fact that this run game or this run defense showed up in a way that we have not seen them do all of last year. All the questions about the defensive tackles that we saw, that wasn't an issue. I will say, the lack of pressure, but I think when you're playing a quarterback like Anthony Richardson, you have to play contain. You can't just, what is it? Pull your ears back and just go. Is that what they say? Right.
Yeah.
Like you can't pin your ears back and go. Like you really have to watch where AR is going to be because if you don't contain, there's going to be a run lane open. So I'm not going to even say that this pass rush didn't meet my expectations because I think it was a unique matchup. I think next week will be more telling. So overall, I would say just from a defensive perspective, the Texans did what we were hoping they would do. And because of that, they won the game.
Yeah. I'm as happy as I can be coming out of it. We'll know a little bit more after this Sunday night. Yeah. I think that the Bears should not be able to score any points off us.
They didn't score any points on offense against the Titans.
That'll talk about a game.
That's wild.
But their defense looks pretty good. So how are we feeling going into the Bears game?
Yeah, that's the interesting thing. I didn't watch the Bears-Titans game, so I can't sit here and say, and I know that the Bears have these, they're going to be able to match up. Based on what I've seen, looks like their defensive line is a really good unit. Looks like their defense is very well coached. It makes sense given their head coach. We have a history with that head coach and knowing what he's capable of on defense. He always was able to trick Deshaun in any way possible. We struggled against Eberflus. So I will say this team is a lot different. When you have the things that I didn't see on Sunday this week that I would like to see this week, or I didn't see last week that I'd like to see this week, is the quick pass game. And I think that's going to, if the pass rush is a problem in Chicago for this offensive line, I'd like to see Bobby mix it up and get some of those 1-2-3 throws, quick slants to Diggs, quick slants to Dell. I think that's going to open things up, trusting Mixon to also be able to run the ball efficiently. I'm not really too worried about this Bears team, though, because of the rookie quarterback and what I think this defense of the Texans can do against Caleb Williams.
Yeah, I think it was interesting because the amount of 49er fans that said that Will Levis would be absolutely perfect in a West Coast offense, for him to look like absolute dog shit last week. I was like, maybe they shouldn't have gotten rid of Vrabel. Maybe they shouldn't have gone out and gotten who's their coach now?
I forgot.
But it's another West Coast guy. Like I understand the thinking behind it.
Yeah, I don't know.
But the Bears completely embarrassed them.
No, they did.
I don't think that there was an offensive touchdown from either side. Is that correct?
No, and I think Caleb Williams' average yards throwing were 3.3 per attempt. So he was averaging a 3.3 yard throws.
I really am bending over. I really am bending over backwards to try not cough in the mic. This is great. Yeah, it was absolutely an atrocious game.
Yeah.
My parents are Titans season holders. I don't know why. Oh yeah, because I live in Nashville, so I guess you have to be.
It makes sense.
But the Titans looked horrible.
Yeah.
So it's kind of misconstrued my expectations of the Bears game. Because at first, if you had asked me at the beginning of the season, easy W.
Yeah.
Rookie quarterback against this defense, there is absolutely no way. It's a Sunday night game, so we'll be a little bit more rested. Usually the Texans, the few primetime games we've ever had.
Got a lot this year.
I've always felt we play better. We don't always win.
Yeah.
But we usually play better.
Yeah.
I think that's in general for most teams. Like usually like the primetime games.
Shows up.
Primetime games are usually toughest on rookie players.
Yeah.
And so at first, beginning of the season, I'm like, there's no way we're going to lose this game. But as well as that defense played against the Titans, I'm a little bit nervous now.
I'm not going to say I'm nervous because I when I look at the Titans offense and I look at the Texans offense, I question, is that Bears offense or defense that good, or is the Titans offense that bad? Right? You don't have Stephon Diggs, Tank Dell, and Nico Collins as your wide receivers in Tennessee,
No.
and then you also don't have CJ Stroud as your quarterback. So I don't know if that's the matchup where I'm going to say that Bears defense looks really good. I want to see him do it against a offense like us. Like if they come in and they're getting after CJ and they're shutting down the pass, like, okay, now it's like maybe. But I think, and also it just being week one, right? You can only go off of what you've seen.
Well, I mean, they have an older Hopkins. They have Ridley. Right. Like these aren't scrub receivers.
They're also not Diggs, Dell, or Collins.
Yeah, but they're not scrubs.
Hopkins might be a scrub. I had this conversation the other day. I think Hopkins is like.
You think he's washed?
I think he's done. I think he's like a 650-yard receiver at the end of the season.
So Andre Johnson on the Colts type player.
Well, I don't like to ever. I don't want to Andre anything, but yes, that's fair.
Okay.
Yeah. So and then Calvin Ridley, like, yeah, he's been a good wide receiver. Like people throw his name around as if he should, but like, what has he really done in the league?
Right. But my point isn't that they're on our tier. My point is that they're not nobodies, but the Bears made them look like they're nobodies.
They did. But I guess the reason why I say, like, I think we're here on the offensive side of weapons, and then I think, like, there's, like, 2 or 3 tiers below. Also, Will Levis. Like, you know, we don't know what Will Levis is. We think we do. People think that he could be good, but we don't know.
Right.
You know, so like there's just so many unanswered questions when it comes to that Titans offense. Where
I've never been impressed with Levis. Like even
I saw moments, but yeah.
even when everybody was talking about the pre-draft, I remember watching him at Kentucky. I've never been impressed with him.
No,
I do know that there are people that I do respect that think that if he was in a good Shanahan style offense, that he would run it better than Brock Purdy does in San Francisco, which I don't believe, but I know that there are people that feel this way.
Yeah.
And that is the type of offense that he's in now. And the Bears absolutely humiliated him.
It takes time. Week one, right?
We
got to keep saying week one in front of everything because the Titans could be, you know,
which is
by week 7 it could work, right?
Like we actually did not look like a week one team.
Who?
Us.
No, we didn't.
By comparison, like as disciplined as the Texans played,
yeah,
as well as they played, we didn't look like a week one team.
No, we didn't. But you know, second year, same team. You know, only addition really is Mixon and Diggs. Like. Same coaching staff, same offensive coordinator. Meanwhile, Titans land, new head coach, new offensive coordinator, like Will Levis being a second-year guy, learning a new offense. We've seen what that looks like, not necessarily in Houston, but nationally with other teams. When you bring in another OC and a head coach, like there's a lot to learn. You're learning a new offense. And not making excuses for Levis. I'm not a Levis guy in any form or fashion. But the reality is, like, when you see new OCs come in and new head coaches come in with a second year or a young quarterback, you know, there are issues getting the system down. When you look at, like, for example, let's look at Sam Darnold in Minnesota. This week, Sam Darnold looked like the Sam Darnold that people expected him to look like when he came out of USC. It's all about the system and if it fits the player's skill set.
Well, I mean,
the Bears, on the other hand, like
Kevin O'Connell is the best coach that Sam Darnold's ever played for. So
which matters.
It does absolutely matter.
It absolutely matters.
And I don't know what point I'm trying to make anymore, other than the fact that are the Bears as good as they looked against the Titans?
No.
Then the Titans are just bad.
I think it's a route. Like it's going to be bad for the Bears on Sunday.
If it's a route on Sunday, like my hype level, I'm going to be like the Kool-Aid man, just like running through doors. Like I'm just going to be beyond hype if we route the Bears.
I think the spread is 6.5.
Well,
it might be 8.5. I would, if the spread was 10.5, I think I'd feel comfortable betting the over. I honestly believe this Texans team is ready for prime time. I think this Texans team is going to step up, and I think they're going to show that they are here for real now, and they're ready to contend.
I hope so.
That's what
I mean.
And you have to do that to the bad teams.
I
agree. Have to.
Which is what I'm trying to say. If the Bears are a bad team and they just absolutely routed the Titans the way they did,
yeah.
And if we go in and
the Titans were up 17-0. They were.
I mean, defensively.
Yeah.
From a defensive standpoint, like the Titans didn't score it.
I don't know what happened. honestly, I just saw, but I know the Titans were up. I think.
Yeah, they were, but the Titans looked like they struggled against them. Like they did not look good against them. There's a reason why the Bears were able to come back without scoring an offensive touchdown. And I know with the NFL, because of so much parity and not every team plays, we have to play, is this team better than this team?
Yeah.
For me, that's not what I'm trying to play. What I'm trying to say is just the level of coaching and professionalism on this Texans team. If we're able to go in and take a team that is very well coached in the Bears, at least on the defensive side, that embarrassed a team that was supposed to be fairly good offensively, to me, that'll just put like the Super Bowl hype meter. Like I might actually be bought in at that point where I've been trying to keep my expectations a little measured. But if we're able to embarrass the Bears, then it's over.
Yeah, I think for me, there's just too many things in the favor of the Texans to blow the Bears out, right? So, home game, first one of the season, prime time, Sunday night.
We are due for one of those. When was the last time we had a Sunday night game?
I don't know. I don't think we had any last year.
Sunday night or a Monday night game?
If I had to guess, it was probably when Deshaun was here and we played the Patriots.
Mm-hmm. I think you're right.
If I had to guess, I could be wrong.
Yeah.
And so there's just too many things where the Texans are this week. Like, we're going to know what to expect from this Texans team moving forward this week, which sounds crazy because we're not playing the Chiefs. We're not playing the Niners. We're not playing a team that we would consider to be a Super Bowl contender. But when you're a great team, you have to demolish the bad teams. That's what the Chiefs do. That's what all the great teams do.
That goes back to our point earlier about how impressive this one against the Colts is. If you are a great team, if you're a team that is legitimately going to have a chance of playing the Ravens or the Chiefs and late in the playoffs, you have to take care of business against teams you should. You have to hold on to games you should win. And we're going to see with this game, with this pressure, if the Texans come out, take care of business, absolutely embarrass the Bears, then they are on that level. They come out, barely beat the Bears. We have room to grow to that level. We're not there yet.
Yeah.
If we lose to the Bears, like I don't know. I might go hide for a week.
Fluky things have happened in the NFL.
Fluky things do happen, but if we lose to the Bears, I will want to go hide in a hole for like a week.
I think that's fair. All right. I think that's it. I don't have anything else. What else you got?
That's it.
Okay. All right.
Unless we want to bag on Deshaun for 10 minutes.
Nah.
I've always got room for that.
I mean, look,
that's like ice cream. You can always find room for shitting on Deshaun.
I just think that, nationally, there were stories that were covered with Deshaun that I think there were also parts of the story that were not covered in the way that they should have been, right? I think, and that's probably my biggest issue is locally, this guy was held in regards of a Jose Altuve, a Hakeem Olajuwon, a Earl Campbell. That was the trajectory he was on.
Mm-hmm.
And then that was also the way the city supported him. The city looked at Deshaun as like a son of the city, right? And you can't say take out what he did off the field because that has to be part of the story. But if you add what he did internally in the organization and to the city, I mean, he basically came here and said, we're going to do everything we can. He did all the right selling, and we all bought in. And then he legitimately told an entire city to shut the fuck up. I'm fucking leaving, and you fucking suck.
Yeah,
and that part doesn't get talked about ever. And I understand in like what should be talked about, the women obviously should always be the top thing that is discussed because that is fucking disgusting. The second part, though, needs to have its moments too, because without that, you don't really have the true story of what happened with Deshaun. No, and the 30 for 30, the HBO story, like FX is doing the Aaron Hernandez one. If I would not be surprised if FX in 10 years does a Deshaun Watson live, whatever that show is.
Yeah.
Because it's fucking disgusting who he is as a human, the people he keeps around him, outside of David, I'm not going to say anything bad about David. David's his agent. David's supposed to do what David did. I have a real hard time criticizing an agent that's going to do what David also benefits from, a $230 million guarantee contract. Like, David's goal is to make money. That's David's goal. I'm not going to criticize him. But the Quincy Averys of the world and, everybody else, to me, it was just like, wow, how the fuck does this guy get away with it? To the point that, now he can retire and be nobody will ever fucking talk about it again.
The sad part is, if he really cared about his legacy,
and he does,
he could have redeemed himself in Houston.
100%.
He could have apologized. He could have done like a forgiveness tour.
Yep.
The city would have forgiven him. If the type of player that he was, that relied so much on instinct.
Yep.
If he doesn't take those 2 years off, essentially, he's probably still a fairly decent quarterback.
Yep.
But the way that it all compounded to just blow up in his face,
yep,
couldn't have happened to a better person.
Yeah.
I 10 minutes at the end of every episode to just dig on him, as long as he's playing, and as long as he's playing as badly as he was. Like, if you look at the all 22 cutout on it, dude, talk about bullet
this guy
dodge.
Fucking
every single thing that that scouts expected to happen for him in the NFL is now actually happening.
I know.
Because that elite trait that he had was the football instincts.
Yeah.
And that's gone.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's just been hit too many times in football, or if it's the alcohol, or if it's what ever else is going on, or the time away, but those instincts are gone. His desire to win is gone.
Here's what it is, John. This is truly what I believe. I believe it's the mental aspect of having to carry on all of this, everything that's happened. He now disabled comments on Instagram. Anywhere he goes, he is. I promise you, I don't live in Cleveland, but if I had to guess, if he walked into a restaurant and Browns fans were walking by, or people were walking by, I'm sure he's heckled at every event. The journalists don't like him. I think there are mental components that he is dealing with that I think that's truly where it all has gone. Yeah. You can see it in his demeanor when he talks in press conferences now. He is not the same guy at all.
No,
he is mentally fucked. And you know what?
That was his trait. His mental ability was his elite trait. And it's gone.
And the fact that he's mentally fucked, I will say, fucking good. Mm-hmm. Fuck you. You deserve all of that. And more. And much more. You deserve to be fucked in a way that most people don't. Because of who you are as a human. Take the football field shit off. Who you are as a human is why you get this. Now add to the fact that you're also robbing an entire fan base again. You have robbed two fan bases of absolute happiness in a way that no other player in the history of sports has ever fucking done. You gave hope to a city of Houston. You gave hope to the city of Cleveland, and you have yet to deliver at any level possible. You're a fucking failure. You've been a fucking failure. And now everybody sees that you are a fucking failure, a loser, and a fucking serial whatever the fuck in your head. And because of that, you're fucked for the rest of your life. You are fucked. And I am so fucking happy that happened to you.
There we go. I think we can end it on that.
Yeah. So,
you feel better?
Felt good.
You feel better?
Felt kind of
nice.
I didn't expect to go. That was pretty dark.
Nice little
Was it dark?
No, it's a therapy session.
It felt dark.
Yeah.
It felt pretty dark. It's really hard for me to not like somebody. And it's really, really, really hard for me to not want to see people win, right? Like, that is one of my favorite things to do in life, is see people succeed in life. It's so hard.
Look, we've known each other 7 years, almost 10 years, somewhere between 7 and 10 years.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't do math. How often am I ever negative about anybody?
No, you're never negative about anybody.
I sit there and I'll
100%.
I defend people. I always try to understand what constraints they're under, what the situation around them. Like, I always try to take all that in. But Deshaun Watson, fuck him.
Yeah, no, 100%. It's just, it's a shitty thing as a human to root against another human, in my opinion.
It really
I think it takes a lot to be able to do it.
But he's earned it.
But he's earned every fucking aspect of it. And because of that, like, dude, you're like, I just couldn't imagine waking up and being Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
Seriously. Like, what a fucking, how are you alive?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's pretty sad. So, anyways, back to the fucking Texans. We're gonna do predictions. We won't go scores because God forbid if John had to fucking throw a score together and actually say that this would be what it is. But here's what I think. I think the Texans blow the fucking roof off of NRG Stadium. I think they're ready for this moment. I think they're going to be ready for almost every moment that they face this year. Week 1 showed me a lot. I think they blow the brakes off of the fucking Chicago Bears. And I think Texans fans leave NRG extremely happy with Super Bowl ambitions.
I think we get up big. I think it's going to be something like the final score is going to be like 35-14.
Oh.
Like the Texans are just going to – I'm even putting a score out there.
Okay.
Why? I don't know.
Because I said you wouldn't.
Because yeah, probably. But it's more because I want it to be about the atmosphere. I think the atmosphere at the stadium is just going to open people's eyes to how great this fan base can be.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be one of those games where the Texans get up big early, kind of ease up on the gas, but the atmosphere just stays the whole time.
Yeah.
And it's one of those where the Bears just realize they're just not competitive yet.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think that's totally fair. It's going to be a routing. So you guys enjoy it. It'll be a ton of fun. With that being said, I don't think I have anything else.
Nope. That's it.
All right. For Texans Unfiltered, I'm Young Ari Gold. That's John Wade. We're out. We'll see you guys next week.